KHTS.
Forever young, I want to be forever young.
And I hold you every night, and that's a feeling I wanna get used to.
And now back to Good Morning Santa Clarita.
Good morning, Santa Clarita. Delgado here with you on this Tuesday, September 30th, and I have another special guest in studio with me from loanDepot. We have Scott Hoolahan, the reverse mortgage specialist. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, bud. How are you?
Good, doing great. Not too bad. Loving this weather. It is fall, so fall appropriate.
Right.
Not too bad. But from loanDepot, the reverse mortgage specialist, and people hear, reverse mortgages all the time, may not know what kind of that is, kind of have an idea. Really quick, what is that? And then also, we were talking off air, but there's different usages, and some people might not be aware or the capabilities of it. So you can talk more about that.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks again for having me in. Yeah, a lot of people, you might have seen the Tom Selleck commercials, right? And then some of my older and more senior clientele may have heard stories or just have an impression of that product and don't really know the behind the scenes and the facts, right? So one of the reasons I was excited to come on and spend some time with you over the next couple of months is to try to dispel those rumors, those myths, and really give your listeners the facts, right? And so the reverse mortgage is it's a product that is really just another way of using a mortgage, but instead of paying the interest and paying that payment every month, that's set aside and it's going against equity that you have access to. And so instead of creating a mortgage where you're paying it back, you're making payments, in some cases, my seniors, and this is all predicated on three primary aspects. It's going to be, how old is the senior living in the home? What's the value of the home, and is there a mortgage on the home, or is it maybe free and clear? And obviously then the older you are and the more equity that's there in the home, so if the home is free and clear, that senior that's living in the home could potentially have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars with no tax implications and be able to use that money for a variety of different reasons. And one of the things that we talk about is a living inheritance, right? So most of the time, inheritance is usually connected to the passing of somebody that we care about.
Yes, yeah.
Right? But there's a whole nother aspect of, look, here's the facts, right? Home prices likely not getting any cheaper over time. There may be dips and valleys and what have you, but over time, we could probably expect that the home today, in 10 and 15 years from today, will be more expensive. Another aspect of life that's just a fact is taxes. So not a real good chance taxes are going to go down.
No, I don't think they've ever
Right?
had.
I don't think we've ever had a time in the past where we've seen, they may change and they go from one bucket to the other, but over time, the cost of living, taxes included, go up. So what we look at is, hey, if a senior has the opportunity based on their equity to stay and age in place, and that's one of the most important aspects of what I do, is find out if my senior client is in the home that's the forever home. That's the home they want to stay in, and I want to help them age in place, because there's a ton of studies that talk about all the benefits for the senior in being able to do so. And that's provided that the home is conducive to aging in place. And if that's the case, hey, let's talk about how that equity could be used to change the lives of their heirs today in a living inheritance, right? Man, there's a lot of grandkids out there that are probably walking around burdened by some big college debt. The senior may have the opportunity to just absolutely erase that debt as part of their future inheritance, but be a part of that today. I mean, it kind of raises the hair on my arms, right? Because instead of that being something that happens when that senior is gone, they get to be a part of that. They get to see that and take part in that amazing gift of erasing a college debt to allow for a grandchild or child to move on with their life and start to really make headway in this world, right?
And that is awesome. Again, we're talking with Scott Hoolahan from loanDepot, the reverse mortgage specialist, about the reverse mortgage and how you can use it today. Again, and with those loans, you don't have to, you mentioned the inheritance. It could be the living inheritance where you can pass that on. And what a gift that senior can have for their grandchild to pay or to at least help out in a major way while they're, with us. Because unfortunately, inheritance does come with the downside of not being here anymore with us. But you can see, the joy in their faces. You mentioned you were getting goosebumps already just mentioning it, and what a gift they can have. And a lot of people don't know that that's an actual opportunity that you can have. And how do they go about the process of doing that? Do they contact you, go through, how does that work?
So yeah, that's going to be the first place to start, is contact me at reversescott.com. That's going to be the easiest way. Go to my website, you get my phone number, you get my email, send me a question. Let's set up a time to have that first consultation. And that's really no obligation. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not, and I'll be the first one to help somebody decide this might not be the way to go, or it could be absolutely. Then let's keep talking, right? And let's get heirs involved. Let's get other family members involved, because it's a process of answering those questions. And then, as part of the mandates of this product, every senior that goes into a reverse mortgage is required to do a independent counseling session with a company, usually about an hour on the telephone. They could do a webinar, they could do a telephone call, and that individual is trained to ask the right questions, to go through what's given in disclosures. And this how it happens before anything else, right? Before an application, before we start spending money, before we start really making commitments. It's mandated that the senior, and if there's two living in the home, that they go through this process of educating themselves, asking all the right questions, right? I'm going to provide all that information up front, but it's part of the process. So they'll do that, and then they'll take an application, and then together we'll walk through the steps to consummate the reverse mortgage. There's an appraisal on the property. It's very similar to the process we would go through in buying a home. Right. It's just at the end, it's reversed, right? No, you're not making payments. They're giving you money.
Yes, please give me all. That doesn't sound too bad. But again, it can get tricky, but you were there, Scott, just to guide everybody in the right direction, the easiest direction, and kind of go through all of that, kind of lingo, and just, here, this is what you need, and this will work for you. And if it doesn't, hey, maybe this program does, and you're going to be working with them. Each client has their own limits and specific, there it is. My goodness, I need another cup of coffee. Specific reasons for that loan, or whatever the case may be. And then again, like you mentioned, there's other options out there, living inheritance and others out there. So going to the mortgage isn't necessarily the only reason or way it can be. It can be for other things. But again, how do they contact you? The easiest way to do that?
Easiest way, reversescott.com. That'll take you to my website. You'll find all my information there. Send me an email. My cell phone number is there. Give me a phone call. Set up a time, and let's talk.
Fantastic. reversescott.com. Thank you for coming on in, and good luck out there. And I'm sure we're going to be talking here shortly.
Look forward to it.
Well, good morning, Santa Clarita. I'm Delgado. If you caught the tail end of that interview, you can catch it in its entirety by heading on over to facebook.com or youtube.com/KHTS Radio.